Sometimes you come across news stories and you think to yourself what kind of disgusting human beings exist in this world. And sometimes you have to call a person exactly what they are. So this sicko, Taofiq Laguda, is one of those people you would not even piss on even if they were on fire. He is literally the scummiest of people that ever existed in this world. So this sexual predator has a wife and a family at home, but it's in his free time what he found pleasure in was prowling the streets looking for victims he could either have his way with or take advantage of their kind nature. His playground was the London streets. In one specific instance, Taofiq Laguda stopped a teenage waitress in his own wife's car after a late night evening drive, searching for someone he fancied around the South London area. Again, he was looking for a victim. And in order to evoke trust, this scumbag tricked a trusting 18-year-old teenager into getting into his vehicle after pretending to need directions. He then locked the doors, threatened the young woman to get into the back of the car, and also told her to keep quiet or he would kill her. 46-year-old Taofiq Laguda then drove to a secluded car park to carry out his depraved attack. This guy is 46 years old. He literally sexually assaulted and abused a person whom is young enough to be his own daughter, all because he could not satisfy his own sick urges. Again, he told the frightened young woman to get in the back of the car or I will kill you, and that is a quote. Now, this idiot was traced back by police back to his motorhome in Dagenham because he still held on to the victim's mobile and handbag. Now, Laguda is a prolific predator. He has a long list of offences of sex attacks on women. He was jailed for the public protection in 2007 for raping a prostitute in Whitechapel after a row over 30 quid. He was also previously charged with indecently assaulting a woman in 2001 after asking her for directions in Deptford and then chasing her down in order to fondle her breasts. For his crime against the young woman, the London courts jailed the sexual predator for life with a minimum term of 7 years, and even that minimum term is way too short. This guy is again a serial rapist and predator. He is a danger to any walking woman. He's already been jailed for it previously, and if you account for the factors, then it means that it's likely that when he comes out, he's going to go back to what he knows best, and that is preying on women. Or potential targets, whatever you want to say. But imagine how his wife must have felt when the news became public. Was she actually living with a stranger, someone who just pretended to be nice and a law-abiding citizen, or did she turn a blind eye to his depravity? Who knows? Recorder Annabelle Darlow QC says, "You are in my opinion a highly predatory man with an established pattern of serious sexual offences which involved deliberately targeting vulnerable women and teenagers and using a vehicle to carry out rapes." The court also reported that during the sentencing, 46-year-old Laguda did not show even a hint or a morsel of remorse for his sickening actions. The court also noted how the rapist has a sexual preoccupation and a poor attitude towards women in general. The sad thing about the young woman who was raped was that she was just a nice person, but she was naive. She finished her shift at 1 a.m. and instead of waiting for a bus, he decided to walk home. While walking, Laguda found her walking alone and stopped his wife's car in order to pretend as if he was lost. The rapist then convinced the 18-year-old girl to get out of the cold and into the warm car in order to give directions, and as a thanks, he would give the woman a lift home. But instead, what he did was drive to a secluded car park in Greenwich and physically forced the woman into the back of his wife's car. Now, this rapist is a married man with 2 young children. That just shows how far this deception goes. Now, his children grow up knowing that their father is a convicted rapist and a predator. Again, for his crimes, he was sentenced for life in prison with a minimum term of 7 years to be served. Again, that is not long enough. F him anyway. Safe.